I'm
but
ready.
it's too late for that now. Dave, you're on.
All
Introduce
right.
yourself.
Uh, yeah, I'm Dave Jaffe, and I've been attending the vintage computer festivals for as long as they've had them around here because um, let's see, it's got to find my screen. Oh, maybe it's this one. Yeah. Okay.
We can see your screen.
All right.
Are we willing to make this rather an informal uh, talk and invite hecklers, or do you
Certainly.
want to just okay?
Okay.
Anybody that's got comments during the talk or reminiscences or questions, please speak up.
Right. If anybody has anything to add to the pictures that I'll be showing, please do so, because I had might have limited knowledge of what I've taken a picture of. Okay, can everybody see the first screen slide with the title slide?
We can see the title slide at
All
this
right.
time.
All right. So the Vintage Computer Festival is held at the Computer History Museum, and it was done beginning of the month. Kevin and I and others were there, and it's about a mile and a half from where I live, so it's very convenient. And this is the museum, um, a very nice facility, very large, lots of meeting areas, and lots of exhibit areas for their the exhibits that they have. A big, um, yeah, very nice display of computers from beginning from prehistory to current history. So great place. If you're in the area, please check it out. So Kevin and I were there, and I'm going to start with Kevin's photos. So Kevin, if you could talk about the photos you took, would be great, and then there'll be my photos. Kevin.
Okay, my mic is live at this time. That's Dwight and Dave. And Dwight is a longstanding volunteer at the Vintage Computer Festival version 2. Uh, I don't know what his level of participation was in the olden days. Basically, there was a sort of a one-man show, Vintage Computer Festival, that was in the Bay Area in the early days, sort of the pre-vintage or computer history museum days. It was held at the fabulous Santa Clara Fairgrounds, County Fairgrounds, and I think at Moffett Field, uh, and maybe other places that I'm not aware of. And then they moved into the Computer History Museum, I think, for 2 or 3 years. And then uh, Salam Ismail, the organizer, the principal guy, uh, uh, got otherwise engaged in his life, had his life otherwise occupied, and was not able to sustain the Vintage Computer Festival. So later on, the Vintage Computer Foundation, anyway, the other VCF in this game, brought it back. And I think first on the East Coast and then later migrated to the Cali. And it's been going on for a few years now, version 2. So next slide. This is a CDC computer, or at least part of it. This is from the days when giants roamed the earth, and Seymour Cray was just starting at CDC, and this is his first computer. And this is the paper tape reader, I guess, and it's correctly loaded. The one on exhibit in the in the Computer History Museum is not correctly loaded with paper tape, but we digress. On next. This is the actual artifact brought from, I believe, Baltimore. by truck. This thing is freaking heavy and hard to move, as most computers of that era are. Uh, that whole desk and box next to it are the computer. They're pretty big for a little computer. And like I say, this is the first Seymour Cray CDC computer, and it's important historically for a number of reasons. It was like the front end for the Cray computer and the back end to run the printers and stuff. Okay, next slide. It's the ADM3A hooked up to the computer, and it normally would have a Selectric specially modified. As you know, that's not a thing that you can easily get to actually function. And in order to have a live thing that does live stuff so that people can actually play, believe it or not, tic-tac-toe with the machine, you needed some kind of interaction. So the guy built an Arduino interface to make it look like the IBM Selectric specially modified console, and got it to work in a very short time, remarkable time. They started with a working CDC, and it was amazing to me that the guy got this thing to work. There was a presentation that he gave. So I think there are a lot of videos. I hope there are a lot of videos that are available. The Vintage Computer Foundation may or may not have made these available. I confess I didn't look. I did post to the chat a video made by a guy named Jesse Petrilla. It's 6 or 7 minutes of YouTube, and he takes a quick walk around and talks to some folks, hits the high spots of the Vintage Computer Festival. Next slide. This is the poster that the 160A had. Pretty awesome. You could see the original console keyboard there. Integrated circuit. No integrated circuits in the computer. Yes, we knew that. Anyway, quite an amazing piece of technology for the time and historically important. Next slide. This guy, shades of Mippy, this guy built a computer out of TTL logic, and I guess there are some pals in there and stuff. If anybody's interested in writing a fourth for it, you can put yourself forward. I'm trying to get the guy to present and tell us about his architecture and stuff. But as it turns out, he's not responding to email. Maybe I should endeavor to be more diligent in pinging him. He said at the time that, oh, sure, drop me a line. We'll see what we can arrange, but stuff happens. So he has two versions. The one on the right is actually nice printed circuit boards that he made and packaged a little more densely. The one on the left is just wire wrap, and both ways, pretty darn impressive. Next slide. That's his web server. You can actually go to this thing and talk to it. I'm not sure if it's up today. The Telnet sessions link on the right there is interesting. You could telnet into this thing and fiddle with it. So it might be possible to implement a fourth without writing a simulator. All right, next. That's the printed circuit board version. I took that a little blurry. Sorry, next. This is Salam Ismail. He is the originator of the Vintage Computer Festival version 1 and part of the t-shirt from those days with the ADM3A logo is visible. Next slide. This is the booth of the fabulous, I want to get their name correct, Friends of the Palo Alto Library. I have often said that the Computer History Museum needs a Friends of the Computer History Museum so that they don't have to enforce the rigid rules about donating to a museum so much as just be able to take everything that anybody wants to donate, even if it's e-waste. You can see a stack of fourth dimensions for the
Starting
past
fourth.
couple of years, or sorry, a stack of Starting Forth, the original Brody book, the blue soft cover. If anybody's desperate to have a hardcover of that, let me know. They had no Starting Forth the first day. And I said, well, I've given them a couple of cases. Over the years, I bring a case to the Vintage Computer Festival and say, here you go, guys, a unopened case of Starting Forth. And they open it and put a few out. And this year I said, okay, fine. So that on Friday, they didn't have any. So on Saturday, I brought 3, and they brought 3 also. Apparently, they haven't sold out from last year, or maybe it's the year before that they haven't sold out of. So they still have copies of Starting Forth. They are apparently selling on the internet. I don't know what their venue is, but they have book sales on the second Saturday and Sunday of every month. So if you want to buy books like this or other books, uh, they have a bargain room that they set up uh, at the library in Palo Alto. And they accept donations Monday through Saturday, 3 to 5 p.m. every week except the week before the sale. So between the first Saturday and the second Saturday of each month, they do not accept donations. So next, these are the guys from the Friends of the Palo Alto Library. Next. They had a copy of Starting Forth second edition. Next. These are the t-shirts sold by the t-shirt vendor. I wanted to show this to my kids who, when they were growing up, played Oregon Trail. I don't think either of them want a copy of the t-shirt, but it's something that I wanted to send to them. Next. This is an ADM3A, not the color scheme from the t-shirt, but still a valid instance of that particular artifact. Next. Another ADM3A, there were at least 2. Next. It was crowded. That free space on the floor was just because it was a walled off enclave that they made, I think, too large for what they had to do in it. They were using up more floor space than they really should have. Next.
Okay. Thank you, Kevin. I've got a lot of photos, so my strategy was to get there early before there were all these crowds and just photograph everything. So I didn't have a chance to talk to all the vendors, so I may not have any detailed knowledge of the photo I took. So please excuse me for that. Again, this is the front desk for the fair. Actually, you bought tickets downstairs and walked up the stairs, and this was on the foyer there, and they had some T-shirts back here and some other souvenir things. So, and again, the Friends of Palo Alto Library, um, lots of books, lots of memories of things that I was interested in. Here's like Windows 95 Secrets. I think I have that book, but again, that's a long time ago.
There were
Calculator books.
there were several versions of Windows Secrets,
Yeah.
one for each version of Windows, until eventually the author said, "Oh, I don't like Windows anymore. It sucks, and they want me to register before I can actually use the operating system, and I don't agree with that, so I'm not going to write these books anymore."
Okay. Thank you. Again, more books. Um, Actually, I worked on a TCL programmer called Tickle, and that's very Forth-like. Um, so that was brought back a memory for me. Okay, now proceeding into the exhibit area, lots of Atari stuff. Um, Atari, more stuff. I wasn't an Atari person, so San Leandro Computer Club. I guess this is more Atari stuff. Um, Atari printed circuit boards. Um, right. There's some old computer magazines.
Yeah, that's the Museum of Art and Digital Entertainment. I guess they've got a bunch of video games you can go play and otherwise enjoy. Uh, at one point, I was trying to organize a field trip expedition to all go there and experience the place. I think you have to book in advance to to enjoy the place, to know that they're going to be open on any particular day or time.
What state is it in?
Confusion. It's in the state of confusion. I believe it's in like Berkeley or Oakland, something like that. Uh, I'll look it up while we're talking, and or somebody can look it up while we're talking and figure that out.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately I have to drop, but this is a great bringing back a lot of memories. And I just a comment on Byte Magazine. I used to wait for that to come to my doorstep, and when it came, I dropped everything and I read it cover to cover within the first 24 hours. It was like this information because there was no internet, right? You wanted stuff, you waited till the magazine came and you devoured it, and that was a good time. All right, thanks for the yeah. I'm gonna have to run, but
Jerry Pordell's
good stuff.
column was very enjoyable.
Oh yeah,
To me.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, Andrew,
All
and
right.
thank you for
Yeah.
presenting. And think about your fourth day talk.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.
All right. Uh, More computers. This is in the area of 3.5-inch floppy disks, um, joystick computers. Okay, so there's this vendor showing off some old laptop computers, and this is very interesting to me because I had this one and I have this one. Did not have the Atari though. And this one was pretty neat too, because this is an IBM ThinkPad, and I think this is the one where the keyboard sort of folded up on itself. So, again, brought back a lot of memories uh, stuff. Yeah. So this is a vendor that's been there over the last multiple years, and they have a core memory kit that you can buy. And basically, the kit is the core memory, and associated with each bit of the core memory is this LED. And so
I
you
think
can
LCD.
tell. No, these are LEDs here.
Okay.
Okay. So it's very colorful, and you can, change the bits using this magnetic pointer. I believe that's the way it worked.
Yeah,
So
you could draw little pictures and patterns and stuff just to show that you could write and read.
this is an Alice computer. I'm not very familiar with it, so don't have any commentary, but it's a nice red color. Uh, so the the fair was celebrating the anniversary of Amiga computers, and so a lot of the displays were Amiga based. And but this is not an Amiga. This was a solid computer, which was an S100 computer. And this brought back a lot of memories for me because this was a very nice implementation of an S100 bus. And it was neat because it had a keyboard and it had these nice wooden panels there. So it actually looked, very presentable and cool. Um, and that was actually done in the Bay Area. Um, and here's another one. And this is an Apple One computer, which are pretty,
Reproduction.
yeah, pretty, yeah, um, yeah. And here's some more S100 stuff. I had a Altair. Well, I still have a Altair. So there's um, um, they didn't have any Altairs there, but they had an IMSI, which was a second kit, S100 kit using an S100 bus. And here's some um, sockets and boards and stuff. So again, brought back lots of memories of stuff. Yeah. This one, I'm not sure what it was.
Going back to the Apple one, I think that they were talking to ChatGPT with it. So
Oh, okay.
that was this year. Last year was a card that stuck in that could boot into BASIC with it had like a SD card slot.
And here's a
Pretty
bunch of
cool.
Apple computers, including a Lisa. Again, I was not an Apple user, so this didn't bring back any memories for me.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is Amiga Future Hall. They had a very big exhibit there, and I think the purpose of this was to show that you can buy new motherboards and displays and stuff that sort of emulated the older Amiga computers. A couple Commodore PET computers. Well, this was a Commodore PET, and it was a professional computer. Not familiar with Commodore, but this is seems like a little bit different model. But again, very well preserved. So that was neat. These guys were around last year as well. And what they've done is made a lot of SCSI interfaces for disk drives and stuff. And there's boards and dongles and stuff like that. So they were doing a lot of interesting stuff. More Amiga stuff with my finger on the right-hand side here. It's Armstrad computer, not an Amiga, with a cassette tape built in. An Acorn computer, I think that was a British-made computer. Another IMSI, and it's showing the S100 boards in here. And this has obviously been modified because these computers, when they came out, did not have an integrated power supply. They had, a transformer and rectifiers and stuff like that that they were separate. And on the S100 boards, basically they had a regulator on each board that regulated down from the 8 volts on the bus to the 5 volts that you needed, to operate the board. And if you had
Yeah, you can't see it here, but there was a big bin that you had to shovel coal into.
yeah, right. But if you had a lot of boards and you had a lot of boards that took up a lot of power, it generated a lot of heat. And in my case, living in Chicago, it helped heat my computer room, honest to God. So that was neat. Another homebrew S100 board with an ADM3, another S100 card. Not sure what CPU is in this one. But back in the day, these S100 boards here, you could typically buy them as a kit or assembled. So I remember doing a lot of soldering. Yep.
It's the back garden.
Right.
Along the back wall, they had a bunch of Macs, in addition to the ones you can see, and above those were all these carrying cases for Macs.
Yeah, was in a separate room, and basically you can come in and play with these because all the ones on the desk were running. So that was neat. Here's the homebrew CPU again. Okay, so here's some renderings made by Lee Felsenstein. And he was at this booth, and his company is it's called Felsen Signs, SIGNS. So he just changed his name a little bit to accommodate what he was doing. So this is more 7-segment displays than I've ever seen in one place at one time. And so they use this as a display. That was sort of cute. This one was very meaningful for me. This is a prom programmer and EPROMs and stuff like that. But I had I had this one of these units at my work, and so this brought back a lot of memories on the stuff that I did, and I use this to program EPROMs for my applications, which were forth-based applications. So this is a very nice unit that had a serial input and also manual input that you can program all these devices. It's a very nice unit, except for one thing. The sponge that they had up here as an air filter, after a year or two, it just, sort of fades away. And it was sort of interesting to see that it disintegrated on this model as well as mine. So this was, I hadn't seen one of these in like, 30, 40 years. So that was good to see one of these again. This is an Osborne Vixen. It was the next model in the series, and this was their prototype. Not sure on the specifics of this, but it did have a CRT. This is before LCD displays became available.
What happened, I think, was Adam Osborne stood up and said, well, our current computer is really good, but just wait till you see the next one. It's going to be spectacular. It's going to be great. So nobody bought the ones that were on the market at the time because they were waiting for this. And this never came because nobody bought the ones that they were selling, and nobody could get to Adam Osborne with a ball gag in time to stop him from blathering. So the company petered out before they could put this on the market.
Thank you. Yeah, these look like Windows 95 computer. Of course, I had that. This is an exhibit where they were showing, modifications to motherboards, typically to replace old capacitors and stuff like that. So this is like a vacuum hose to suck up the solder fumes.
Yeah, he's recapping boards in real time, live with microscope pictures that everybody can see on the video monitor.
Right. And Apple Lisa, and I guess this is an early hard disk up here. Um, this looks like a non-IBM kind of display. Not sure what it was, to tell you the truth. Don't. Oh, this may be a Xerox Park style computer. Not sure. This was interesting. The Amiga people built this part of the booth, and I never saw anybody in it, but maybe it was supposed to be like a representation of a dorm room or a kid's room, with an Amiga computer in it.
Yeah, they had an area curtained off, as I understand it. Before Amiga was bought, they were a standalone company, and they had everything that amounts to what became the Amiga computer that everybody bought. But at the CES from that year, was it 30 years ago? The CES from that year was the first Amiga from this standalone company, and they had the original trade show booth. And I don't know if this was something that got set up at the time, but this was part of that exhibit.
Okay.
They had a
Thanks.
bunch of they had a bunch of playable arcade games, coin-op games from that era as well.
Okay. And on the side they had this Blondie poster. So one of my groups that I like. So I took a picture of that as well. But that was sort of odd to see that there.
I think
Um,
they were trying to set the mood of that vintage, that era.
This looks like a replica of Engelbart's first mouse, and he also worked on these uh,
Cordic
corded key input devices.
shades of Chuck Moore.
Yeah. Uh, this is a Apple computer, laptop computer with a plastic exterior,
Clear case.
clear case. Yeah. Of course, my first computer CPU was an 8080, and this is what it looked like. And I remember when it came out, it was close to $400, and the Altair computer kit itself was that same price. So, and it included one of these in it, so that was sort of interesting to me. Yeah, here's the pricing up here.
How much was the RAM?
On my Altair, it came with a memory board that had 256 bytes of memory, and I forgot how much that board was, maybe $100 or so back in '75.
But
So the CPU is
300,
still more expensive.
$360 was a lot of money back then, and that was one chip with
One
no
chip.
boards or anything.
Yeah.
And the memory for this was less expensive than like for a 6502, because it was dynamic memory. Getting dynamic memory to work on a 6502 was problematic.
Yeah. The memory boards that came with the Altair at the time were static memory. They did try to produce a dynamic memory board, but everybody that I talked to who had one wasn't able to get it to work because of the refresh needed. And yes, I think that was an issue. So this is a single board computer trainer with an 8080 in it. I had one of the Intel boards that was a trainer like this, but without the breadboard. And that was the first board that I used that I implemented a version of Forth on. But that was different. This is a little bit nicer board, but I didn't have this one though. There was an exhibit of t-shirts, and of course Sound Blaster was the big add-on sound card for computer boards back then. And I think I had one of these boards. I also had one of these devices. This is a Heathkit H89, and what fit in here was a single floppy disk. And what was behind here was two cards. There was the video card was one big card that operated the CRT, and then the board in front of it was the CPU memory card.
Is this in the consignment area?
Yes, this was in.
Yeah, that may just be the terminal part of it without
No,
the computer
the
part.
H89 was the computer part. The terminal was called the H19.
Yeah, but you could make a H19 from an H89.
Right, by taking out the boards. But this was nice that in that it was all one unit. You had your mass storage, you had your display, and the keyboard, and it had a couple of serial ports on it. So I built this up from a kit, and I remember building a number of H19 terminals as well. And here's a nicer version, but with a hard disk on it, which was an add-on unit. And this is a DEC computer, and I wanted to show you this floppy disk drive. This was a dual floppy disk drive, and there was two places to plug in floppy disks, and it had a common
Motor and hub.
hub where it would be able to engage the disk, the different tracks. But there was only one of them, so if you were on track 30 on the first drive, you were also on drive 30 for the second one. So I remember buying one of these and implementing on the H89 and modifying the BIOS to accommodate this particular head configuration. So that's why I brought that up.
There are some of these that you put the top one in right side up and
Yep.
the bottom one in upside down.
Yeah,
It
because
was actually a video game years ago, not necessarily on this system. If you put it in upside down, if you put the disc in upside down, the game would play upside down. So you'd call tech support and say, my game's upside down. And the support guy would say, turn the floppy over. And it was great fun for everybody.
yeah. Right. So this is a very nice device, and as Kevin said, the heads were on a middle common shaft, and so you had to put the floppies in a certain way in order to make them work. Okay, Apple II, yeah, IBM, PC. Yeah, we've all seen these before. Blurry photo of S100 cards, and all different kinds of cards. And here's some S100 computers, and here's a bunch of old hard disk drives. These are big 8-inch drives. Yeah, and lots of floppy disks here. So, and of course, Dyson was a maker of the disks back then.
So they had a fairly large consignment area and you could buy
Yeah,
this stuff.
yeah. This is in the consignment area, and there's several aisles you would walk up and down, and there's stuff on the floor, stuff on the tables, lots of things to look at, and there's documentation and things like that.
There was also a free area for people
Yeah,
who wanted to, I don't know what you needed to do to drop stuff off in the free area. I guess you had to agree to take it away after
yeah.
if
This is the Apple side of that. More Apple computers. Another consignment room. These guys are pretty busy.
there's Dwight on the left there
Oh
on
yeah,
his knees worshiping at a keyboard.
yeah, down here. This is a Toshiba laptop. I think the floppy disk was on the side, and I think I had one of these as well.
I
Uh,
think I used to use one of those to time out the fourth day proceedings. I had a timer and a big screen that plugged into it to show the time left in a guy's talk so he could wrap it up.
okay, bunch of printers, dot matrix printers. Another heatkit computer. Sorry for the blurriness. Radio Shack computer. This is a Craig. This is actually a handheld computer that was I think, a duplicate of the a Radio Shack version that I have. So this is like a one-line computer that ran BASIC, I believe. Yeah. So that was in nice shape. And here's some more of the Lee Felsenstein's posters, and here's his name of his Felsen signs. Okay. Yeah.
If
So
the structure of the software were visible, there would be panic in the streets. I love that.
yeah, yeah. So he had a bunch of these. This is a very nice exhibit of Palm Pilots and keyboards that attached to them, so that you didn't have to use the existing user interface. You can use a keyboard to enter stuff. This is a nice arrangement of manuals. Of course, I had WordStar, I used CPM, and there's a couple. Yeah, I think I had these manuals, so it was nice to see them again. So people who have old fourth books, maybe they're worth a lot of money. Here's the one I saw that was labeled for $100. I don't know if they sold it or not, but
Seems excessive.
yeah. Well, all you need is one customer, and you'd be successful. But then,
All you could accommodate is one customer.
right? But these were a couple fourth books in the consignment area, and that's it. So thank you, Kevin, for helping me out with this.
Yeah, thank you, Dave, for doing the most work. I wanted to say that I wanted to say that I've got a t-shirt here. The first t-shirt I want you to see is the t-shirt from this year. It has the Atari demo. I guess it didn't bounce. It may have turned slowly, and the shading and the shadowing and the I don't know, it may have bounced and not turned, but the real-time graphics for the era was very impressive, and that they could do all that computing and displaying in that era was just remarkable. And a lot of people at that trade show at that first CES were saying, okay, where's the video, the VCR playing this? Because nobody could believe that they were making this image in real time. So speaking of t-shirts, I have another one. Let's see if we can get that on screen. And this is the front, just so that you can know that it had a nice design. And this is some dates. So we're going to hold those up for a little bit. I have a programming challenge. Let me tell you, some of the most fun I had, some of the most enjoyable Zoom meetings of our group was when Bill posed us programming challenges, and we soon ran out of that because how many could there be? If anybody has interesting programming challenges that they care to put forward, maybe for fourth day, maybe just for a regular meeting, I'd be pleased to hear about it. But the programming challenges, you notice that there were dates, but no years. The challenge is to tell me what the year is. And you can do that in an interesting way. I could probably do it in a half-ass way in 10 minutes that wouldn't involve any fourth or anything remarkable or interesting. So do it in an interesting way. Maybe write some fourth code to do it. Tell me what the year that goes with those dates. And you can assume that those dates are all in the same year. You can assume that it's either a Friday and a Saturday or a Saturday and a Sunday. There's no telling. And you can check your work maybe on the Vintage Computer Federation website. I expect that link goes somewhere. There's a link on the shirt, goes somewhere. You could probably check your work there, but no cheating. I always like to know that there's answers in the back of the book. So I'll hope that somebody does actual work on this. I see, there's smoke coming out of Brad's ears. All right. All right. There'll be at least one interesting solution. That was the second favorite thing about those talks, is that Brad's solution was always fascinating. All right. Questions, comments? All right. I don't think anybody interested in the links to. Oh, they don't have a. Oh, they do have a URL. I'll post the URL of the Friends of the Palo Alto Library website. All right. Questions, comments? On with the show. Bob, introduce yourself.